McDonald's has been hit by its first fall in global sales since the start of the pandemic in 2020.
Behind those golden arches lies a web of carefully hidden practices that would make you think twice before your next Big Mac. From chemical-enhanced beverages to breakfast items that haven't seen a real kitchen in weeks, McDonald's has perfected the art of legal deception. They've been quietly deleting content that exposes these secrets, but today we're pulling back the curtain on what they really don't want you to know. Ever wonder why McDonald's Coke hits differently than anywhere else? It's not your imagination, and it's not because they care about your taste experience. McDonald's has engineered their Coca Cola to be more addictive through a series of modifications that Coca Cola doesn't even require. First, they supercool their syrup below industry standards before carbonation. This creates an unnaturally sharp carbonation that literally attacks your taste buds more aggressively. Think of it as weaponized fizz designed to create a more intense craving. But here's where it gets concerning. They've also negotiated with Coca Cola to increase certain preservative concentrations. Their Coke contains elevated levels of phosphoric acid compared to what you'd get from a can or bottle. This extra acid doesn't just affect taste, it's significantly more corrosive to your tooth enamel. Dentists have actually started asking patients about their McDonald's consumption because the acid levels can cause accelerated dental damage. Then there's the straw conspiracy. Those aren't regular straws. They're specifically engineered to deliver more liquid per sip. The wider diameter forces more Coke into your mouth at once, overwhelming your palate and creating what food scientists call flavor flooding. It's a psychological trick that makes you associate McDonald's with a more intense taste experience. But the real manipulation happens with the ice. Different locations use completely different ice-to-drink ratios, despite corporate claiming standardization. Some customers get mostly ice with a splash of Coke, while others get syrup soup. It's like playing liquid lottery every time you order. Remember when McDonald's launched their big healthy eating campaign? Those premium salads were supposed to be their answer to critics, who said they only served junk food. What they didn't advertise was that many of these salads contain more calories, sodium, and sugar than their burgers. The Southwest salad with crispy chicken and ranch dressing clocked in at over 900 calories. That's more than a quarter pounder with cheese. But McDonald's marketing team positioned it as the health-conscious choice. It's like calling a candy bar nutritious because it contains nuts. The chicken they used wasn't grilled fresh daily, like their commercials suggested. Instead, it arrived pre-cooked and frozen, pumped full of sodium phosphates and artificial grill flavoring. The grill marks were literally painted on with food coloring. Real grilling? Not happening in most locations. But the vegetables were even worse. The lettuce was pre-chopped and treated with chemical preservatives to extend shelf life. By the time it reached your plate, it had been sitting in plastic bags for up to 2 weeks. The nutritional value had degraded to almost nothing, but the preservatives kept it looking fresh. The worst part was the dressing packets. A single ranch packet contained more sugar than their soft-serve ice cream cone. The light vinaigrette options were loaded with high fructose corn syrup and artificial flavors. You were literally drowning vegetables in liquid candy while thinking you were making a healthy choice. McDonald's quietly phased out most salads in 2020, claiming it was due to pandemic simplification. The real reason? Too many customers were discovering that their healthy options were nutritional disasters wrapped in marketing lies. McDonald's all-day breakfast was one of their most celebrated menu additions. But the reality behind those breakfast items would shock most customers. Very little of what you're eating was actually prepared that morning, or even that week. Those perfectly round eggs and Egg McMuffins, they're not cracked fresh. McDonald's uses a combination of real eggs and egg powder that's mixed with water and preservatives, then formed into perfect circles using industrial molds. The mixture sits in refrigerated containers for days before being reheated in steam cabinets. The folded eggs in breakfast burritos are even more processed. They start as liquid egg product that's been pasteurized, flavored with artificial butter taste, and treated with anti-foaming agents. This mixture gets cooked in massive factory kitchens, frozen into sheets, then shipped to restaurants where they're reheated in specialized ovens. Hash browns aren't made from fresh potatoes either. They arrive as frozen, pre-formed patties that have been sitting in freezers for months. The crispy texture comes from modified food starch and artificial potato flavoring. Real potato content? Less than 60% in most cases. But here's the truly disturbing part about McDonald's breakfast. The timing flexibility is a lie. Items can legally sit in warming trays for up to 4 hours before being served. Your fresh breakfast sandwich at 10:30 a.m. might have been prepared at 6:30 a.m. and slowly dying under heat lamps ever since. The sausage patties contain more fillers and preservatives than actual pork. The ingredient list includes corn syrup, dextrose, and something called natural flavor that's actually a cocktail of dozens of artificial taste enhancers. When McDonald's says 100% beef in their burgers, they conspicuously avoid making the same claim about their breakfast sausage. McDonald's drive-thru speed claims are built on one of the most sophisticated timing manipulation systems in the fast food industry. Those average service time statistics they're so proud of, they're completely fake. And here's how they do it. Every McDonald's location has software that tracks order completion times, but employees are trained to game the system. The timer starts when you place your order, but it stops the moment an employee hits complete on their screen, not when you actually receive your food. Managers pressure staff to hit that button as soon as food goes into the bag, regardless of whether you've been handed anything yet. Some locations take this fraud even further. They'll mark complex orders as complete before the food is even assembled, then have you pull forward to a waiting area. This makes their drive-thru times look impossibly fast on corporate reports while you sit in a parking space waiting for food that was supposedly already ready. The really devious part is how this affects order accuracy. When employees are rushing to close orders quickly to meet artificial time targets, they make more mistakes. Missing items, wrong orders, and cold food become casualties of the speed manipulation game. But corporate never sees these problems because the computer says everything was completed in under 3 minutes. Internal documents from franchise owners reveal that these fake timing metrics are directly tied to manager bonuses and store ratings. Fast times mean more money for management, creating a perverse incentive to prioritize fake statistics over actual customer service. It's a system designed to make spreadsheets look good while making customer experiences worse. The most insidious aspect is how this data gets used in corporate marketing. McDonald's uses these manipulated speed statistics in advertising and investor presentations, claiming they're the fastest fast food chain in America. It's like a sprinter claiming a world record because they stopped the stopwatch before crossing the finish line. If you could see inside McDonald's ice machines, you'd probably never order a cold drink again. These machines are breeding grounds for bacteria, mold, and biofilm buildup that would make a gas station bathroom look sterile by comparison. The problem starts with how ice machines are designed. They create the perfect environment for bacterial growth: warm, moist, dark spaces with irregular cleaning schedules. Most McDonald's locations clean their ice machines monthly at best, despite health codes requiring weekly deep sanitizing. Former employees have shared photos of ice machine interiors coated in black slime that looks like something from a horror movie. This biofilm contains everything from E. coli to Listeria, and it's constantly flaking off into the ice that goes into your drinks. Health inspectors have found ice at some McDonald's locations with higher bacterial counts than toilet water. The ice storage bins are even worse. These compartments often go uncleaned for months, accumulating layers of mold and bacterial growth. The scoops used to fill cups frequently get stored in contaminated areas or washed in the same sinks used for other cleaning tasks. But here's what makes this truly terrifying. McDonald's corporate knows about these problems. Internal memos obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests show that ice machine contamination has been a known issue for over a decade. Instead of requiring better cleaning protocols, they've focused on legal strategies to minimize liability when people get sick. The high-volume nature of McDonald's operations makes these contamination issues exponentially worse. A single contaminated ice machine can affect thousands of customers per day, spreading bacteria and viruses throughout entire communities. Yet most locations treat ice machine maintenance as an afterthought, prioritizing speed and profit over basic food safety. McDonald's has pulled off one of the most impressive pricing scams in corporate history, and most customers still haven't realized they're being systematically ripped off. While they claim inflation forced price increases, the numbers tell a very different story. Since 2020, McDonald's has raised prices by an average of 40% across their menu. A Big Mac meal that cost $7.99 4 years ago now costs over $12 in many markets. But here's the key detail they don't want you to calculate. Their ingredient costs have only increased by about 8% during that same period. They've been using inflation as cover for massive profit margin expansion. While customers struggled with rising costs of living, McDonald's posted record profits year after year. Their 2023 profit margins were the highest in company history, proving that these price increases had nothing to do with covering costs. But the price manipulation goes deeper than simple increases. McDonald's has been quietly shrinking portion sizes while keeping packaging identical. A medium fries container holds 15% less food than it did 5 years ago, but looks exactly the same. They're literally giving you less while charging more, and betting you won't notice the difference. The value menu has become the biggest lie in fast food. Items that were once priced to be genuinely affordable for low-income customers now cost more than premium items used to cost. A McChicken that was $1 in 2019 now costs $3.49 in many locations. That's not value, that's exploitation of brand loyalty. McDonald's regional pricing strategy reveals the true scope of their deception. The same Big Mac costs $4.99 in rural Kansas and $8.99 in urban California. Despite nearly identical operating costs, they charge whatever they think each market will tolerate, proving that their prices are based on profit maximization, not actual costs. The most cynical aspect of their pricing strategy is how they target low-income communities. Locations in poorer neighborhoods often have higher prices than suburban locations, despite lower real estate costs and wages. McDonald's is literally charging the people who can least afford it the most money for the same food. All of these deceptive practices are finally catching up with McDonald's, and their declining sales numbers prove that customers are waking up to the reality behind the golden arches. You can't build a sustainable business on chemical manipulation, health hazards, timing fraud, and price gouging forever. The company has spent decades perfecting the art of giving customers less while making them pay more. From artificial Coke enhancement to contaminated ice machines, from reheated breakfast theater to drive-thru deception, McDonald's has prioritized profit over every other consideration. But here's what really exposes their desperation. Instead of fixing these fundamental problems, McDonald's response has been to launch expensive marketing campaigns trying to convince you that nothing has changed. They're spending millions telling you their food is fresh, their service is fast, and their prices are fair, while the evidence proves the exact opposite. The truth is that McDonald's has evolved from a restaurant company into a real estate empire that happens to serve food. Their primary concern isn't making good food or providing good service. It's maximizing the profit extracted from every square foot of their locations. When you walk into McDonald's now, you're not just buying a meal. You're participating in an elaborate theater production designed to separate you from your money while giving you the lowest quality experience they can legally provide. Every aspect of your visit, from the enhanced Coke to the manipulated timing systems, has been engineered to maximize their profits at your expense. The golden arches used to represent affordable family dining and American optimism. Now they're a symbol of corporate cynicism and customer exploitation. McDonald's has bet their entire future on the assumption that customers won't figure out how badly they're being deceived. Based on their declining sales and growing customer complaints, that bet isn't paying off. The truth has a way of coming out eventually, and McDonald's decades of deception are finally being exposed. The only question left is whether they'll change their practices or continue trying to hide the evidence until their empire of lies finally collapses.